Alright, recording attempt number 2, because the first one recorded sideways. Fushido of Team Bad Yugi's here. Welcome to Yu-Gi-Oh! Club. And this is an updated profile of my draft cube. Now, if you know nothing about draft cubing, it's a really popular thing in Magic where people have a giant cube of cards, as in like a giant assortment, and they break it into packs, and they split the pack, and they pick cards from those packs and pass them around. And with those pass-arounds and picking new cards from each of the new packs, you build your deck off of it. And that's essentially what I've been trying to build for Yu-Gi-Oh! For the past almost a year now. And there's an updated list of the cube. I now have it built for two players, 4 players, add on this, 6 players, add on this, 8 players, add on this. And so depending on how many people are in your party, you can have a cube that's balanced for that number of people. And it's 2 of every card, so there's 2 Blackluster Soldiers, 2 Blasters, 2 card troopers, and so forth. There are certain cards and other things that'll come up. I'll make you aware of them, but for now, let's just get started. So this is the Plants vs. Dragons cubes by me, Nate, or Fushido, whichever you want to go by. Starting with BLS, Blaster, Card Trooper, Cyber Dragon, DD Crow, Dandelion, Corseska, Debris Dragon, Effect Veiler, Fiber Jar, Flame Guard, Fossil Dino, Glow Up Bulb, Gores, Curry Bandit, and Lone Fire Blossom. You can already see immediately with these first 16 cards that this is definitely focusing on like dragon rulers and plants, with a little bit of chaos in there. So think of like how Tengu Plant operated back in like 2011 or so. It's a lot like that. But however, the ceiling is much higher. There are 50 cards to every set, which means that for every 2 players, there's 100 cards for you to go through, because there's 2 of every single card. So, you'll just see how it works out. Mathematician, Maxi, Reborn Tengu, Redox, Raiko, Sangan, Spore, Swiss Scarecrow, Tempest, Thunder King, and Tidal. These are all the monsters. You'll notice there's a card like Reborn Tengu, but if there's only 2, then why is it any good? Because when you pick 1 Tengu in the cube, you reveal it afterwards when I'm setting up for drafting out the extra deck, you'll get 2 more copies of that Tengu. The same as for Destiny Hero Malicious. So picking 1 gets you a full play set, because those cards operate in best of 3s. But yeah, no, there's also some more light and dark, some more general removal is very, very important. For the 2-player cube, you gotta remember, every card that you have is the card your opponent doesn't have, and vice versa. So you want to make your deck picks for like how you're building your deck based on that. Moving on to the spells, we have Dark Hole, Dragon Ravine, Enemy Controller, Future Fusion, Foolish Burial, Gold Sark, Graceful Charity, Harpy's Feather Duster, Heavy Storm, Metamorphosis, Mirage of Nightmare, Monster Reborn, 1 for 1, Pot of Avarice, Pot of Greed, Regeki, and Scapegoat and Soul Charge. And we'll just finish off the traps while we're at it. Crush Card, Imperial Order, Royal Oppression, Torrential Tribute, Vanity's Emptiness. That means in the 2-player cube there are 10 traps in total, 2 of each of them. And there's 2 of every single one of these cards. There is a limited and forbidden list. I'll go over that in the end. It's also in the description below, as well as a list of the entire set. But now move on to the extra deck. So with 50 cards to build your main deck from, since both players are going to get 50 cards by the end of it, so it's 100 cards total, you split it in 2. There are 20 cards for you to build your 15-card extra deck out of. And here's that list. We have Armades, Armory Arm, Black Rose Dragon, Brionac, Crimson Blader, Cyber Twin Dragon, Chimeratech Fortress Dragon, 5-Headed Dragon, Formula Synchron, Goyo Guardian, Leo, Draco Sack, Big Eye, Scrap, Star Eater, Stardust, Stardust Spark, Hyper Librarian, Trish, and Thousand Eyes. So depending on what you need or what you want to your deck for, like let's say you have both Instant Fusions or both Metamorphosis, odds are you're gonna play Thousand Eyes and Cyber Twin. But unless you have any Cyber Dragons, you're probably not gonna play Chimeratech, as well as the level 6 Synchros, because Cyber Dragon plus a level 1 tuner is the easiest way to make that, because there aren't too many tuners in this. It's all on how you use them, you know, just like a general plant deck back in the day. But that's it for the 2-player cube, Plants vs. Dragons. You'll see in the first expansion, we have a lot more light and dark support rather than the elemental support that was everywhere in here. And also a lot of stuff for Light Thorns and Shaddolls. So starting with that, we have Banisher of the Radiance, Black Dragon Collapserpent, Chaos Sork, DD Warrior Lady, Dark Arm Dragon, Denko Sekka, Eclipse Wyvern, Aaron, Kaiku, Heroic Challenger Thousand Blades, Honest, Lila, Judgment Dragon, Lumina, Necrogardna, and Grand Mole. So you can see a lot of cards that actually support that, as well as other like general things as well. So like Necrogardna for Light Sworns, Thousand Blades, as you'll see in here for Shaddolls. We also have general like hate as well as some anti-meta. Now that we have more traps in here, you can really build a nice anti-meta focused strategy. Because don't forget, cards in the previous set are in here too. So that means there's 2 Fossil Dynas for you to work with, 2 Kaikus, 2 Thunder Kings, 2 Grand Moles, 2 Banishers. You can build a straight-on hate deck if you really, really wanted to. And that's pretty cool, I think. I really like how you can just go for completely different strategies based on the cards you pick from in this cube. I love this cube a lot. Night Assailant, Damage Juggler, Hat Tricker, Trick Clown, again, for the Shaddolls, the Thousand Blades. Pero, good for Light Sworns or Shaddolls. Plague Spreader Zombie, Raiden. Then we have the 5 Shaddolls, Beast, Dragon, Falco, Hedgehog, Squamata. Then we have Wyvern Buster, and we have Witch of the Black Forest. So yeah, a lot more level 4s in here. Some good synchro options finally here. We have Charge of the Light Brigade and the spells, so you can tutor out whatever Light Sworn you need. But moving on to the spells for 2. Since we have even more grave cards, but since there's 4 players, you can have a little bit more powerful cards for what you want to go for, because a little bit more variety in what you're going to get, since these cards are now split among twice the number of players. So you're less likely to have, insane combinations, such as like Card Destruction plus Graceful Charity in an opening hand. It just won't happen as much. But Card Destruction, Charge, Defy, El Shaddol Fusion, Forbidden Lance, Instant Fusion, Mind Control, MST, Shaddol Fusion, Solar Recharge, Super Poly, Shallow Grave. So you can see a lot more of just what's available here. Nothing too much to it, just kind of go over the list at this point. But yeah, I'll go over the limited list. There's like 8 or so cards in here that are on the limited list, and I'll explain them why when we get there. But anyways, the Traps are Breakthrough Skill, Macrocosmos to go with the Defy and the other anti-meta, Mirror Force for the protection for those decks. We also have a bit more removal now. We have Ring and Phoenix Wing, the 2 Solemns, and then Trap Tricks, Trap Hole, Nightmare. So that's really cool. Now that there's a lot more monsters and spells in here as well, you could go for an all monster deck, like an all aggro deck, and just play one of these if you really wanted to, which I think is a really fun way to play. But now that we have a lot more level 4 monsters as well as instant fusion, definitely have to have a lot more rank 4s in here. So we have Abyss Dweller, Bells. Now that we have 2 level 2 Dark Tuners, Castel, Infinity, Nova, Daigusto Emerald, El Shaddol Construct with Shekinaga and Winda. You have Norden, Exiton, Flame Ghost, Carbonala Warrior, Lavable Chain, Michael, Nachiria Beast, 101, Trapeze Magician, Delteros, and Tolmeus. So if you can draft all 3 pieces, then you deserve to play, because it's pretty tough, because people usually pick it out. And as more people play, it's actually even harder to make that. So I have a bit of leeway for that. Like Constellar Pleiades is a card you can go into off of Tolmeus. So in case you don't get those, you can actually still go for that if you want. So I try to make sure you have options as you go on. I also try to make sure that the lists balance themselves out with what you're getting. I'm trying to support everything a little bit more and more as each set goes into it, while introducing entirely new ways to play. Like in this expansion, the 6 players, you'll see you can build a complete Jar Control deck if you wanted to, and you can also go for Burning Abyss, or maybe put them both together if you're really fun like that. But Gale, Breaker, Caius, Seer, Cyberjar, Malicious, Farfa, and Firehand, Goblinberg, Graph, Icehand, Jowgen, Light Pulsar, Magician of Faith, Morphing Jar, and number 2. So you can see that there's a lot more cards that you can rip off of Cyberjar. Like cards you can set off of Morphing Jar number 2 as well, like Faith, the Hands, Jowgen honestly is really nice to hit off of that. Moving on. We have Mystic Tomato, Red Undie, Rescue Cat, Skarm, Snowman Eater, another card to hit off of the jars, Spirit Reaper, Summoner Monk, Fregodia, Tribe, Tour Guide, and Airbellum. You'll also notice that there's now, with Pero and Raikou already in here, there's now like an entire Rescue Cat engine, so you can monk into Cat, You can bring out air bellums and go for synchro plays. You'll see that in the extra deck as well. There's some very powerful synchros that are finally available. And also more general removal, always good, between Tribe and Farfa, cards like that. There's also a bit more chaos plays now with Light Pulsar, Red MD in here. And you also have Malicious, and you can see those options in the extra deck as well when we get there. You'll see it. Book of Moon, Brain Control, Cold Wave, Forbidden Chalice, Giant Trunade, Kaiser, Pot of Duality, Premature Burial, Smashing Ground, Snatch Steal. Not as many spells as there were in the past. We're gonna have a lot more traps because now that there's a lot more players, I just feel like now is a good time to introduce a lot more traps into the game. Also a lot more punishment for mass removal, as you'll see in the back row. Black Horn, Bottomless, Call of the Haunted, Dimensional Prison, Divine Wrath, Karma Cut, Lose One Turn, Regeki Break, Royal Decree, Skill Drain, Starlight Road, Threatening War, and Wobaku. As well as like with all the new power and the monsters that are available, now there's so many routes to go to them. I feel like it's very important to have a lot of these very important and completely entirely stopping traps available, such as Divine Wrath, Black Horn of Heaven, and Skill Drain. But also with all the new traps, it's important to have cards like Royal Decree, so you can so that way you can actually have more chance of control. I don't want to nerf, the high ceiling decks that much. I want them to have options. I want every deck to have options. Like, that's the best way to play a cube. But moving on to the extra, you're gonna see a lot of the rank 6, the new rank 6 stuff, the rank 3 stuff for BA, and Synchro stuff for Synchro Cat. We have Cataster and Arcanite, Beatrice, Colossal Fighter, Pleiades, M7, Dante, Dark Strike Fighter, Downward Magician, Anoyatilis, Gaia Dragon, Alucard, Leviair, Acid Golem, Crazy Box, Photon Strike Bouncer, Ryu Senshi, Temtempo, Thought Ruler, and Zen Mains. So now that we have Skill Drain, cards like Colossal Fighter, Crazy Box, and Acid Golem also are really important, so it's good to bring them in now too. With Tour Guide in here, we have a whole slew of rank 3s you can go into. I want to put Crane in here in the future, and that will also make these a lot better. Crane will also be in this second expansion. But moving on to the 4th expansion, which is really a rounding of the bases and just including a lot of really powerful stuff, because when you have 8 players, that just means it's like the maximum power, because you're least likely to see combinations of like cards that could otherwise break the game. It also introduces like half of the limited cards. But anyways, let's get right to it. You have Moral Tech and Scythe, Armageddon Knight, Cardi, Dark Grepher, Dark Magician of Chaos, Dark Flare Dragon, Diamond Dude, Doom Caliber Knight, Bubbleman, Stratos, Exploder Dragon, Felice, Goblin Zombie, Shinzo, and Krebons. So you realize with the monsters that are available to you now, you can pretty much play Airblade Turbo if you desire. I want to include cards in the future after I figure out what to take out of the cube for these, such as Reasoning and Monster Gate. I want to put them in here. I also introduced the zombies in here, as you're about to see with the rest of the monsters here. Mizuki, Pyramid Turtle, Ryza, Snipe Hunter, Super Nimble, Dionea, Vermilio, and then we have 4 more. Vanity's Fiend, Wolf, Yatagrasu, Zombie Master. Yeah, there's Yatagrasu in here, and with the shape of things to come with, the 8 players, it just means that you'll be less likely to get off crazy combos for it. However, in the future, I do want to put in Chaos Emperor Dragon in this cube, probably in this last iteration with all the other dark monsters. I think that'll make for some really fun games. Some really fun drafting experience. Yeah, let's call it that. And also, as you see, there's a zombie engine. Painful Choice isn't here to load your graveyard with zombies. It is limited, however. But you'll see that with a whole slew of other insanely powerful spell cards. Allure of Darkness, Card of Safe Return, Change of Heart, Confiscation, Creature Swap, Destiny Draw, Delinquent Duo, Dimension Fusion, E-Telly, Fissure, Nobleman, Painful Choice, Paw of Dichotomy, Rhoda, and Forceful Sentry. So yes, only now will I put in Card of Safe Return with the zombies, because beforehand, if a Dragon Ruler player would get that, which they'd be more likely to see it, they could just break the game with dragons and plants. You can't put this in any earlier. I've tried it in the past, it's much too powerful, so it was banned until I built this list to hold up to 8 players, honestly. Forceful Sentry's also in here. It's another limited card because it's probably one of the strongest cards in the game, just because there's nothing you can do about it, and it just gives your player super free knowledge, and it's probably the most least punishing act in the game. It shuffles it into the deck, so you can't really counter that. Like it's not like confiscation or duo where they discard it. You can then like use a resource. If you only have one card in hand, they have to choose like glow up bulb. You're not even sad about that. It's like, okay, we just wasted a card to give me a glow up bulb live. I don't care. Stuff like that. Also, cards like Dimension Fusion I hold off until now. Also, with Dark Demok coming out in this cube, I think now's a good time just to release that. You're trying it out, you know? This may change in the future. E-Telly only has one target in here, but you have 2 E-Tellys and 2 Krebons, so I think it's okay. I do want to put Ghost Ogre in here, however, because Ghost Ogre would be a great counter to a lot of the OTKs that can happen in here, because trust me, I've done a lot of them. They can happen a lot. Sanctum, Dust Tornado, Magic Cylinder, Return only now. Safe Zone, then Sixth Sense, Trap Dust Shoot, and Trap Tricks Trap Hole Nightmare. So searchable off of Mermelio, as well as Bottomless and Treacherous if you really want to play that way with Treacherous Trap Hole. But, I mean, hey, if it's the first trap you use in the game, who cares? Sixth Sense also insanely powerful. So, like I said, a lot of power in the 8-player cube, because it's just the most inconsistent cube, so to say. Because there'll be a lot of people who pick out, your dragon rollers. You might only have 2 dragons at the end of the entire cube, because 3 other people also have 2 dragons. It can happen. It's really easy to happen. Ancient Fairy, Dark Bolter, Direwolf, Felgrand, Dragonite Dracoid Quest for Super Poly, Marrowgeist, Gaga Cowboy, Gatling Dragon, Maestroke, Mech-equipped Engineer, Mistworm, Shockmaster, no less than 8 players would I put this in. Black Ship of Corn, Volcasaurus, same for that card with Gaia Dragon, absolutely. Master of Blades, Orient Dragon, Photon Pappy, Queen Dragon Jin, Red Dragon Archfiend, Steel Swarm Roach. Now you're probably thinking, why don't I put Dark Strike Fighter in the 8-player cube? Why do I have it in the 6-player cube? Because I want to summon it, that's why. Not really though. It's just a matter of having cards available when I feel they're best suited. If I put an Ancient Fairy Dragon too early, there are Dragon decks that can abuse it too well with Dragon Ravine. I'm also thinking of putting in like Necro Valley as another just like anti-meta card. Because Ancient Fairy Dragon isn't out to that card. However, I don't know how easily decks can make Ancient Fairy Dragon. I'll see that with future testing in the future. Necro Valley might be another card that's added in this 8-player expansion. But that's the list. Like I said, there's 2 of every single card. However, there are some limited cards that are definitely worth noting. The limited cards are Forceful Sentry, Graceful Charity, Pot of Greed, Painful Choice, Performance Trick Clown, Elder Entity Norden, Return from Different Dimension. These are all just cards that are just much too powerful to have as 2-0s. If you build this cube and you think otherwise, you're going to try other things, go ahead. Do what you want. This is just my own testing, my own preference. I don't limit cards like Dark Strike Fighter or Shockmaster, because usually in the game, if they summon 1, they win, Like, if you beat that, then you're fine. If they can get the resources to summon it again, don't you think they should be able to? I don't know. If they were able to draft both, though, and they actually make both, I think that's fine. Same with Castell. Castell used to be limited, but I took it out. Because I realized, man, it's not exactly easy for them to make 2, and there's a lot of answers to Castell as well. So even though it's really powerful, it might not be too powerful. I think it's a proper check to some of the overpowered monsters in here. And it's only 2k, which isn't that hard to get over. You have to extend a little bit, but usually not too much. Or maybe just have a good trap to out it. Like, the only reason cards like that would seem overpowered is if your deck building is just not up to stuff. Like, if you build a deck with 0 traps, but doesn't OTK your opponent like 80% of the time, that's your own fault if you get blown out by a good answer. Someone drops scores on you. If you can't out it and you just lose, that's your fault for not playing any traps, That's not like the draft's fault. That's your own cubing. Like that's just a result of like your own build style. So maybe you should work on that. I don't know. Maybe I'm just trashing talk on too many players. But yeah, no. When you have all 8 players in the cube, this entire box is filled out entirely. These white cards over here are just tokens, and here are the extra Tengus and Malicious over here. But that's it for the cube. I've already brought up most of the cards I want to put in here. There's also cards like Legendary Jujitsu Master I want to try, but I'm not sure where I'd put them in or what I'd take out for them. I don't know. We'll see if people like Bubble Man. I do want to try Absolute Zero for Super Poly, but A, that doesn't need Bubble Man to make, and B, I just don't feel like it'll come up that much, so I'm not really concerned about it. But that's the Plants vs. Dragons cube. I've been working on this for almost a year now. I'm glad to have this updated video. I want to upload a video of a recording of the entire thing from each of like the player's perspective. It'll most likely be a 4-player cube if I do that, if it's any more. I'll also have individual uploads for all the perspectives, and then I'll record all the games, of course. I think that'd be really fun to do. It would take a really long time, but I think it'd be worth it. I don't know. Tell me what you think, or if you try building this cube. It's a pretty large task to undertake, but it's super fun. This cube is one of the coolest things I've ever made with this game. It's been really fun, guys. Anyways, take it easy. Have a good time. This is Free Sheet of Team Bad Yugi's, signing out.